Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about the remaining part of new economic policy, that is your globalization. As we have discussed in previous discussions, that we have introduced our new economic policy in the year 1991. Because our financial system was running with a crisis mode before 1991. We are giving importance to public sector. We are not giving importance to private sector. Then we are protecting to our domestic industries. We are not making them competitive. So in view of such things, Government of India during 1991 introduced the policy of new economic policy in 1991. Basically, new economic policy stands, as I told you, LPG. The main features of new economic policy are LPG, as L stands for liberalization, P stands for privatization, G stands for globalization. Now let us understand the fundamental concept regarding globalization. Globalization, as the name indicates, globalization refers to the integration of your domestic economy with the world economy. Globalization refers to the mix of your home economy with the world economy. What happened? Before 1991, India have a protected trade. India do not have a free trade. I am telling the difference between protected trade and free trade. So when you talk about free trade, it implies trade between two countries, trade among countries without any restrictions, without any hindrances, without any obstacles. When you mean about, for example, protected trade, it means trade with some restrictions, that is called protected trade. Let me clarify the distinction between free trade and protected trade. Free trade implies trade between two countries without any restriction, without any obstacles. For example, we have entered a trade with USA or China. We have seen that there is no restriction on India and USA trade. That is called free trade. When we put some restrictions on export and import between two countries, it is called protected trade. So why I want to say that before 1991, we do not have a free trade policy before 1991. But after 1991, we have entered the state of globalization. I told you, globalization refers to, try to understand the meaning of globalization. Globalization refers to, it is not a small concept, it is a big concept. Globalization refers to that integration of your economic system, Indian economy, with the world economy. You understood? Globalization refers to integration, combination of Indian economy with world economy. Means what you are producing, it will be tested outside the world, and what others are producing, you will test the outside product. This is called globalization. Complete mixture, complete combination of your economy with the world economy. Now, after the introduction of new economic policy, Dr. Manmohan Singh was their finance minister. Now we are experiencing so many products of multinational companies. Might you have not introduced that new economic policy, then you do not have the chance to test, to experience such type of products. So when you enter the policy of globalization, when you talk about the policy of globalization, it is a complete mixture. It is a complete integration. There is no restriction at all. It is a complete integration of your economic system with world economy. I am telling you, when you enter globalization, then definitely you have to understand the concept of import and export. Export refers to the goods, services, finance, capitals, raw materials, ideas coming from world economy, going from your economy to world economy. When you talk about globalization, globalization is something more than export. You just understand. Globalization is something more than export and something more than import. When you talk about export, you are talking about export of goods and services. But when you talk about globalization, it refers to export, import of not only goods and services, but also raw materials, but also ideas, but also cultures. This is the meaning of globalization. So we can say globalization is a broader concept globalization is a bigger concept than export and import. When you talk about export and import, it means you are talking about export and import of goods and services and financial resources. But when you talk about globalization, it includes export and import of goods, services, financial resources, ideas, cultures, tradition, everything. That is called globalization. That is why the concept of globalization is somehow more broader than the concept of export and import that we have introduced in the policy 1991, for example. Now we will see about different steps, different measures taken by Government of India towards globalization. We will discuss about the steps or measures of towards globalization, we can say. Let us discuss what Government of India took some measures, some steps regarding the policy of globalization. The first point I would like to tell you is that foreign direct investment and foreign technology. One of the biggest fault of independent India is that we have never allowed foreign direct investment before 1991. We have not allowed foreign investment to flow to India freely. But 1991 policy opened the doors for foreign direct investment. Manmohan Singh has opened all the doors for foreign direct investment, and up to 51% of foreign direct investment, no approval is being required. I am repeating once again. Up to, for example, when a foreign company, when a foreign individual, when a foreign entity want to invest in India, an Indian company, up to 51%, then there is no requirement of government approval. I want to, for example, if in a company, if there is a share of 100%, and if a company, foreign company invests up to 51%, then we can say it is the major investor and we are the minor investors. So a foreign company can invest up to 51% and he will stake the claim of major investor. No approval is being required up to 51%. In some cases, government also allows 100% FDI. It is the up to 51, no approval is required from the Government of India. In some cases, with the approval of government, we allow 100% FDI. You have to remember very practically two things I am repeating. Government of India allows foreign investment up to 51% without any approval. The company doesn't require any approval from the government if the company want to invest up to 51%. And in some cases, the company can invest, or some company can invest in some sectors up to 100%. For example, in case of medicines and pharmaceuticals, government allows investment up to 100% FDI. Before 1991, we do not have a system like that. Government put some restrictions, government imposed some ban on that. So no foreign company is interested to come and invest in India. But now the policy is like that. Any company is being outside the India are welcome to invest in India up to 51% without any approval. But if the company want to make more than 51% investment, then the company needs the approval of the government. Then you talk about foreign technology, for example, no approval is required for testing foreign technology in India or for testing Indian technology in foreign countries. We have purely allowed inflow and outflow of foreign technology. We do not require any approval. We do not require any approval of the government for testing foreign technology in India, or we do not require any approval from the government for testing Indian technology in foreign countries. So mutually we have made an agreement to the point we are allowing both the sides of technology to test in each other's countries. No restrictions, no approval from the government on testing foreign technology in either of the countries. So we can say we have allowed foreign technology and foreign investment to flow without any approval, without any restrictions in India. Because after independence, we have crossed almost 40 years. After 40 years in 1991, almost we have realized that we are being very poor, we are being very underdeveloped in the sense we do not have capital. We do not have sufficient capital. Right from the starting, I'm telling, we do not have proper per capita income. We don't have high per capita income. We do not have high saving. We don't have high investment. We have low rate of capital formation. That pushes our economy to backward. So realizing the need, Government of India now allowed the FDI up to 51% without any approval, and Government of India also free the use of foreign technology without any restrictions in India. Coming down to point number 2, we will discuss about that. Government of India go for a policy of devaluation in the new economic policy as a step toward globalization. Just to understand, Government of India as a second step towards the policy of globalization introduced the policy of devaluation. First of all, you should understand what is the meaning of devaluation. Devaluation, undervaluation. Undervaluation or undervaluating the standard of your currency in terms of American dollar. Just I am telling some basic concept here, you to understand the concept better. When you enter foreign trade, when you enter global trade, when you enter international trade, then definitely you have to foreign dollar will be there. Your foreign currency will be there, that is American dollar. Everything will be done, everything will be exchanged in terms of American dollar. So the rate of exchange between your domestic currency and your foreign currency, that American dollar, that is called exchange rate system. When you enter foreign trade, then we have to maintain exchange rate between American dollar and your Indian currency, that is your Indian rupee. So the exchange rate, for example, for some time, it determines the nature of trade, it determines the flow of international trade in global market. When Government of India devalued Indian rupee by 20% in July 1991, Government of India devalued Indian rupee in July 1991. I am writing the meaning of devaluation. Devaluation refers to a government's attempt, it's a government step to lower the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. I am writing, devaluation refers to government's attempt to lower the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. Here I am telling 2 points here. One will be your devaluation, one will be your depreciation. Both have same consequences, both have same result. Devaluation have the same result, that is you're lowering the nature, lowering the value of your Indian currency in terms of foreign currency. Depreciation also result lowering the value of Indian currency in terms of American dollar. But what is the difference between devaluation and depreciation is that depreciation refers to a market force. It is a market mechanism where automatically your Indian rupee will be lower in terms of American dollar. But when you talk about devaluation, devaluation is a government step, devaluation is a government process where your Indian rupee will be devalued by the Government of India in terms of American dollar. I have told depreciation is a automatic mechanism, devaluation is a government attempt. Depreciation is a market mechanism and devaluation is a government attempt. But both have same result, both have same consequences, and the result is that reducing the value of Indian currency in terms of foreign currency. Now, question comes to your mind. Often, question will come to your mind. Why government want that? Why government want to reduce our currency in terms of foreign currency? What is the use for that? Why government will behave like that? Why government will undervalue us? Why government will devalue our currency in terms of foreign currency? And the thing is that when government devalues your currency, it means now your currency becomes cheaper in foreign markets. Your currency becomes cheaper in foreign markets. People from foreign countries will be encouraged. People from foreign countries will be motivated to purchase more Indian products because in their market, Indian product will be cheaper. You understand? When government go for devaluation, it means your currency will be lower. The value of your currency will be lower in terms of American dollar. So what will happen? When it will happen like this, the people in foreign countries, they will be encouraged, they will be motivated to purchase more items from India because the price of the items will be cheaper in these countries. So as a result, we can say very directly, devaluation will boost up your export level. Devaluation will promote export level. As a result, the export level will go up due to devaluation policy. This is a major step towards globalization that we have introduced in the 1991. In July 1991, government automatically devalued the Indian rupee by 20%. By devaluing, now government want to boost export. Now government want to promote exports because the value of Indian currency will be lower and the price of Indian products in foreign market will be cheaper and foreign individuals will be more excited. Foreign individuals will be more interested to purchase Indian products from our domestic market. So this is the second step towards we have seen that globalization. Coming down to next step, convertibility of rupee. One step towards further regarding globalization, rupee was made convertibility in two phases. In 1992-93, rupee was made partially convertible. And in 93-94, rupee was made fully convertible. So this is also one more step towards globalization. Rupee was being made convertibility under two phases. In first phase, in 92-93, rupee was made partially convertible, and in 93-94, rupee was made fully convertible to allow the functioning of global international system, which was being implemented as a part of globalization in the policy of new economic policy 1991, that is convertibility of rupee. Then coming to next point, as a result of globalization, we have introduced a new export-import policy in the year 1992 to 1997. Before the policy of globalization, we do not have a 5-year export-import policy. But after the introduction of the policy of globalization, we have introduced the policy of new export-import policy that has started in 1992-97. It is a 5-year term duration. Before globalization, we do not have a 5-year export-import policy. But after the introduction of globalization, we have introduced the policy of export-import policy in 1992, and from 1992 to 1997, it is the first export-import policy of 5-year duration, like Indian planning. We have introduced planning system in 1951, and the term is how much? 5 year. Accordingly, we have changed, not introduced, you can say, we have changed our export-import policy to 5-year terms, which was previously not 5 years. Now we have changed that export-import policy up to 5 years. In terms of year, in terms of time, we have changed. Let us see what are the policy implications. Let us see what are the policy changes in the new export-import policy. Before 1991, whatever the export-import policy we have introduced, in those policies, we have put many type of restrictions. We have put many restrictions on quota. We have put many types of restrictions on tax system. We have high tax system. But in the policy of export-import policy 1997, we have removed all type of restrictions. For the first time in India, in the 5-year export-import policy, we have removed all type of restrictions on foreign trade in the first 5-year export-import policy. Apart from removing the restrictions, we have come with so many policy measures. We have come with so many guidelines that will boost up our export, that will promote our export. So the new export-import policy now introduced in 1997 goes for twofold, goes for two motive, that is the policy of export promotion and import substitution. I am repeating, the new economic policy, the new export-import policy announced in the year 92 to 97 focused on 2 points, that is your export promotion and import substitution, that we have introduced. As we change our export-import policy, after some time, we have also changed that our foreign trade policy, and for the first time, we have introduced a 5-year foreign trade policy in 2004. As a result of new export-import policy, after some time, we have introduced our new foreign trade policy in 2004 and 2009. So what are the benefits of new foreign trade policies? That before that time, we have put many restrictions. We have our taxes, custom duty was very high, custom tax was high on imported items. In 2004 to 2009, new foreign trade policy we have introduced. We have removed that import taxes, we have removed that custom taxes, and we have implemented some policies that will encourage, that will boost the exports. So this is the policy we have introduced, 92 export-import policy. This policy is meant for removing all type of restrictions on export and imports. The policy export-import of 1992 to 97, this is meaning for one point, that is removing all type of restrictions on export and import. Now India entered a trade of free trade. Now India doesn't stand as in a position where we will be called as a restricted trade partner, but now we are having now we stand as a country with a free trade. You know that in the international level, when you talk about foreign trade, there is an organization, institutions called WTO, World Trade Organizations. WTO, World Trade Organizations always offers, WTO always aims for maintaining free trade all over the world, across the globe. Now, India can proudly say we are a part of WTO in the sense we always want to protect, we always want to go for a free trade. Now, India is no longer a part of restricted trade. Now, we want to be a free trade. So, I am repeating, the policy we have introduced in 1992 as an export-import policy, that is meant for free trade. And the policy that we have introduced, foreign trade policy, remember one thing, this is your export-import policy, this is your foreign trade policy, 2004-2009, it has reduced the tax system. It has reduced the custom duties. It has made the tax system flexible to promote exports. So this policy focus on the tax rate, and this policy focus on the free trade. Both are the part of new economic policy 1991. So we have seen various measures regarding that. We have seen that FDI and foreign technology. And one more point I would like to tell you that FERA is being replaced by FEMA. FERA replaced by FEMA. Previous times we have our FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. There are some restrictions, there are some controls on foreign exchange transactions before 1991. But after 1991, as we have made all the policies liberal, and now we are replacing that FERA, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, by Foreign Exchange Management Act. And as per the new policy of Foreign Exchange Management Act, now there will be no controls, there will be no regulations, there will be no restrictions on foreign exchange transactions. So this is also a policy initiative introduced in the policy of 1991. So you can overall sum up regarding the steps or measures towards globalization. We have seen that we have allowed automatic approval up to 51% in foreign investment. We have allowed free flow of foreign technology. No company, any company in a foreign country can test his technology in India. Indian technology also can be tested outside the world without any government intervention. We have seen devaluation. Government of India, to boost up export, has devalued Indian rupee by 20% in July 1991. This is purely a good step towards promoting export. And we have seen rupee was made partially convertible in the 1992-93 and it was made fully convertible in 93-94. And we have seen we have introduced new export-import policy in the year 92-97 with a purpose, with a aim to allow free trade. And after some time, we have introduced that new foreign trade policy in 2004 to 2009 with a aim to reduce custom duties and to promote export. And in last but not least, we have seen that our previous exchange rate system, that is FERA, that is being now replaced by FEMA system. In the next part, we will be discussing about the benefits or the demerits of globalization. Let us go to the second part of our discussion regarding the impact of globalization, the effect of globalization. Now we will study what are the positive impacts, what are the merits we can take from the policy of globalization, and what are the problems that we have to face, or what are the negative impacts that we have to face due to globalization. Now let us analyze the positive impacts first. Let us analyze the merits, the advantage that we will get as a domestic country. Increase in foreign trade share. This is the practical experience that before we enter the policy of globalization in 1991, the share of India in foreign trade, world trade, was 0.53. 1991. This is a very practical point. Before we enter globalization, we have a foreign trade share in world trade. Means out of 100% world trade, our India's share was 0.53%. Now, the share has been increased to almost 2.28% in 2014-15. I am repeating, before globalization in 1991, the share of India in global trade, in world trade, was 0.53. After we have introduced the policy of globalization, then the share of India to foreign trade, to world trade, have increased to 2.28%. So this is actually the magic of globalization. This is actually the result of globalization. Regarding number 2, we will come about that increase in foreign investment. When you talk about foreign investment, let me tell you that foreign investment may be in two forms. It may be in direct investment or it may be in portfolio investment. Let me clarify about that. When you talk about direct investment, then direct investment refers to a company's investment, a foreign company's investment in a company or in the entity of an Indian company. When you talk about portfolio investment implies that investment in shares, debentures, that is financial shares, that is called portfolio investment. After the introduction of globalization, we have seen there is a huge rise of foreign investment in the form of direct investment and also in the form of portfolio investment. Coming down to the next point, increase in foreign collaborations. Foreign collaborations means foreign agreements, foreign negotiations. The collaborations may be financial collaborations. The collaborations may be technical collaborations. You understand? Collaboration means negotiations or agreements between India and other countries. So the collaboration may be financial collaborations. The collaborations may be technical collaborations. After we have introduced the policy of globalization, both financial and technical collaboration between India and other countries have improved have increased because as a step towards globalization, I told you in the beginning that we have allowed FDI up to 51% without any government approval. And also I told you we have allowed 100% free flow of technology from India to foreign countries and from foreign countries to India without any restrictions. Due to these two steps, actually, we have now entered the phase where we are having collaboration with foreign companies in terms of finance and in terms of also technology. So this is also the major benefit that we are getting after 1991, which we do not have before 1991. Coming to next point, increase in foreign exchange reserve. We can say foreign exchange reserve plays a vital source. It is the biggest source for export and import of a country. This determines your standard. This determines the country's position. Before 1991, I will give you the statistics before 1991. Before 1991, foreign exchange reserve in India is $4388. Just be clear. Before 1991, our foreign exchange reserve was the stock of American dollar 4,388. And after globalization, it has been increased to 23 lakhs 93,220 dollars. I am repeating, before 1991, our stock of foreign exchange reserve was $4,388. After we have introduced globalization, now as of now 2014-15, it is improved to 23 lakh 93,220 dollars. See a biggest difference in foreign exchange reserve, and the biggest difference, the so much improvement in foreign exchange reserve is due to the policy of globalization. Coming down to the next point, brand development and quality improvement. When you talk about globalization, we are not talking about an easy thing. It is a purely a difficult process. It is a purely complex process. We allow competition, we allow quality, we allow improvement. So, due to globalization, we have created a brand. Now, India has entered a phase, India has entered a stage where we are now creating brand development. We are creating brand for our products. Now, we have recognition of our products in international market. Now, India has been famous for its product in also international market. India now got its own brand in international market. And like that also, foreign products also are being demanded in India as per the requirement. You talk about, we have vast expansion of telecom sector, we have vast expansion of financial sector. Our reputation in international market has been grown up, and also foreign companies and foreign resources has also been showing very interest towards in India as per brand development is concerned. So when you talk about brand development, definitely there is that phase when we talk about quality improvement. Due to tough competition between India and global companies, now it has now increased the quality of the product. Coming down to next point, we have increased our employment generation. India is a country where I told you that we are facing a biggest problem, biggest challenge to our economic system in the form of unemployment and poverty. I told you, India is a country where we are facing the biggest threat, biggest challenge to our economic system, that is your unemployment and poverty. So, in a country like India, where people live in acute unemployment, now globalization has given us scope, globalization has given us a dream of getting employment. Now, due to merger of Indian companies with foreign companies, due to merger of Indian collaboration with foreign collaboration, now there is more scope of employment nowadays in India. People are getting more employment nowadays, and there is a vast increase in the employment generation. Now, coming to the next point, that is your reduction in brain drain. What happened actually? Before 1991, people in India who are being highly educated, people who are being highly qualified, people who are being highly intellectual, people who are being highly efficient, they do not show any interest to work in India before 1991. People who are highly qualified, highly efficient, they have little interest to work in India because they have an issue that we are not giving the proper remuneration, we are not giving a proper justification to their quality, to their caliber. So they are going to foreign countries to work. They are no longer working in India and they are visiting foreign countries. They are going to foreign countries in search of work where they are being better paid. And they don't show any interest to come back to India. That is the policy of brain drain. Foreign companies are using our resources for their development, whereas we are not using our resources for our development. But after globalization, as foreign companies have come to India, as they have coming to India to invest in India, now people who already went to foreign countries, now they are back to our home countries. So we can say there is a reduction in brain drain because the people who already went to foreign companies for work, now we see that they are coming back to our country because the companies where they are working, now they are coming to India and investing in India. So we can say this is a clear policy where we can say that theory of brain drain goes in favor of India, and now there is a reduction in brain drain. Coming back to last point, improvement in standard of living. Overall, we can say we have seen so many points, and the points are there to justify it that overall our lifestyle has improved. Overall, our life standard of living has been improved. We have tested so many brands. We have tested so many products. We have come with good quality products with less price. So, with less price, we are testing so many products outside India. We can say that our standard of living, our quality of life have improved due to the policy of globalization that is being introduced in the year 1991. So we have got so many benefits, we are getting so many positive impacts due to the policy of globalization. Now let us go to our next part, that is your negative impact of globalization. When you talk about negative impact, then the first point that comes to your loss to domestic industries. Before 1991, there is a challenge to our economic system that before 1991, our domestic industries are working with less capital and with domestic technology. But when you allow that foreign technology, when you allow foreign capital, then domestic industries are finding not scope to compete with them, to compete with those companies. As a result, they are now suffering a huge loss in Indian economy. Coming to next point, increase in inequalities. For example, globalization has created a world of corporates. It has created a world where the many big companies will come forward. So you can say the big companies, the corporate will benefit. The people working in big companies and corporate will benefit. So this will no longer benefit the poor sections of the society in India. In India, I already told you, almost a major part of our population lives below poverty line. Almost 21.9% are still living below poverty line. And when you allow globalization, then it will benefit the corporate sector. It will benefit the multinational organizations. It will benefit the biggest companies where people are not being under the category of BPL families. So they are going to benefit definitely from the policy of globalization. But it will not benefit the so-called unskilled laborers or so-called the poor people. As a result, the proportion of inequality between rich and poor will increase rather than going instead of declining. So we can say the inequalities that exist in India at the time of independence after 1991, it is going to be expanded but not being reduced due to globalization. Now you talk about next point, unbalanced regional development. I am very much sure to say that foreign companies when come to India, when they are coming for investment, they will not be interested to invest in India, where the area are backward, where some locals are being underdeveloped. Definitely they will hit the area, they will come to invest in the area or locality, they will have the interest when the market is developed, where the locality is developed, where the area is developed. In underdeveloped areas, in remote areas, they will not be anyhow going to invest. So this will be a biggest challenge to Indian economy because right from independence, we are struggling to make a balanced development among all the states. We will see some states are developed, some states are underdeveloped. Due to such type of imbalance, due to such type of inequality, we are not developed as a compact Indian unit. So globalization allows foreign companies who will show more interest towards development in developed regions, in rich regions, instead of development, instead of investment in backward region. So when they are showing their investment in developed area, then backward areas will be getting no profit due to such type of policy. So as a result, it will lead to unbalanced regional development. That we are trying to maintain a balanced regional development, but globalization will be leading to go for a unbalanced regional development. Coming back to further, last point, we can see that dominance of foreign institutions. We have allowed foreign companies to enter in Indian economy. Now foreign companies will come India. We have already removed that foreign investment limits. We have allowed foreign technology. So now what will happen? Foreign companies are now coming bigger size. Foreign companies are coming in a large number. So we can say time will come. Already the time has already come. Foreign companies are now dominating Indian companies due to their better technology, due to their better methods. Now they are overtaking our economic system and they are overtaking our Indian institutions. Time will come when they will entirely dominate our Indian industrial system. As a result, we have to again go back to our independence era. So we have discussed about, in the first part, we have talked about the measures or steps toward globalization. In the second part, I told about various positive and negative impacts of globalization. Whatever it may be, globalization, we can say it is a new step towards the policy of foreign trade, which will boost our economy in the coming years. And hope in the coming years, we will be a developed country and we will be an advanced country due to the policy of globalization. Thank you.